3, 2, 1, go.
Hello. This is Ignacy from Portal Games.
And this is the Podfather of Gaming, Stephen Bonacore. You are listening to Board Games Insider, episode 225, and we're recording this on January 26th, 2022. Board Games Insider is a proud member of the Dice Tower Network, and Tom Vassell called me part of an elitist clique. What? The Podfather of Gaming? An elitist? The Podfather is the single most social, inclusive, most friendly person on the planet. Ignacy, don't you agree?
I agree that you are in the top 3 people I know that is super social, super friendly, super inclusive. And what is more, I don't understand the word elite, so
elite
is clearly wrong.
Elitist.
Okay.
You think you're above everybody. You only socialize with a few people.
That's not true.
It all had to do with having dinner on the cruise, and I'm going to be getting like a package to go to some of the specialty restaurants just to have so I won't be able to have dinner with everybody on this upcoming Dice Tower cruise, which, by the way, they had to change all of the cruising protocols, due to COVID.
Yep.
So you're not allowed to sit on the Dice Tower cruise. You can round robin and sit with anybody you want on the cruise. And that's what I love to do. Every day I have dinner with somebody else. But now you have to have dinner with the same people, just so that, in case of an outbreak, you'd only spread it within your pod. So I decided, I'll do a few of these specialty restaurants too, just to, have a good time in a more luxurious thing. And Tom called me an elitist cult. Ha! An elitist clique, not a cult. It's a little bit different. Anyway, Ignacy, you had some week this week. Oh my goodness. Wow. The Portal game stuff was awesome that came out. So give us the lowdown from PortalCon.
Yeah, PortalCon, and this year I promise you that we are not doing keynotes, but we will have some amazing announcement. We started the week with 51st State, the Game Found campaign. And then we announced that Greg Polewka becomes the CEO of a company, and then the next bomb was the thing that I hope all of you already heard, but just in case you were sleeping the whole week, here it is, the official press release. Portal Games, in partnership with Warner Bros. Consumer Products and Genuine Entertainment, announced that they have secured an agreement to produce officially licensed tabletop game set within the DC universe featuring Batman characters. And
wow.
This is obviously dream come true. This is me and my team designing Batman games, detective games set in a Gotham. So I think that I can officially answer all these questions that we have every couple of months. Ignacy, what is the beloved IP you want to design a game with? I'm okay with what I have here. Batman is my beloved comic. I have hundreds of these comic books at home.
Wow.
Gotham is a super interesting setting with these dark vibes, with all these super villains, with all these very interesting, very vivid characters. And designing cases was absolutely a pure pleasure for me and for my team, play testing it for months. And the game is right now in production. It will be released this late spring. Pre-orders we start on March 4th, so very, very soon. And once again, as we mentioned the last year, there are some movies, some books, some IPs that we love. Many times we answer these questions in this podcast. I cannot go another place than Batman. Like, this is the home run for me. I absolutely love this IP, and I had a pleasure working with this game. So that was a big news of the PortalCon. You can imagine all the people in the room when we suddenly announced that. The room just got crazy. The clapping, the shouting, yelling, everybody was just absolutely insane when we announced the announcement. So news of the week: Portal Games to publish Batman Everybody Lies. You can check out portalgamesus.com to learn more, to read the whole press release with all the information about the characters and everything like that. Then my brag of the week: 51st State that we discussed last week has now over 5,000 followers on this campaign page, which is insane. We didn't even start the ads. We didn't even start anything commercial. We just announced that we are doing the Game Fund campaign, and immediately 5,000 people clicked follow button because they want to grab this ultimate edition. So once again, for all of you who tried to hunt down 51st State because it was out of the print, now we are preparing 51st State Ultimate Edition, the base game and 6 expansion in a one box. Is going to be amazing. Pre-order 3 dates. Gutenberg is on pre-order. Grab it before it's too late. And what's happening at HQ? We had the PortalCon. Steven sees the picture because things happened, and the Cookie Monster was very, very happy.
It was unbelievable that picture you posted, and I assume that's the gifts that everybody brought to you. Oh my God! I mean, I'm going to take a guess here. There's 100 boxes of cookies, give or take, something crazy like that. I mean,
this is insane.
And it's just, and you laid them all out on 2 tables, I think it is there.
These are 3 tables.
3 tables. Absolutely beautiful picture you've taken of yourself surrounded or at the head of the table with 100 boxes of cookies. Check out Ignacy's Twitter feed to see that. It's epically funny.
I also received a lot of cakes, and they're already eaten. And the Mary got a lot of beers, which once again remind fans of board games are amazing people.
Yes,
they have a sense of humor. They like to play, if you can use this word. And this is so humbling and so fun at the same time that you are organizing the convention, and people find it fun and cool and nice to approach me with the gift, and this gift being a cookies. I absolutely love my job. I love the industry I'm working with, and all the fans. It was a blast this day. We had all together we had more than 400 people, almost 500 people. That included journalists, vloggers, bloggers, retailers, distributors. So lots of B2B people, and of course our fans. Big event. We announced 16 new games for Polish market. I recorded the whole video on my vlog, so you can check out what we announced for Polish market. We had a blast, and fans had a blast. So PortalCon operation finished with a success. And I want to invite everyone to my vlog, 100 vlogs for 100 days. We are slowly going to the end of this experiment. Today I recorded a very fun episode, so you can check it out on YouTube. It is called Top 5 Rules in My Board Games I Stole from Other Designers. And I'm discussing the inspiration I had from other great designers and how I took some of their ideas and put them into my designs. This is always fun to show inspiration behind the game. So generally speaking, I'm in a great mood. Finally, I can talk openly about the Batman, the board game. Finally, I can share all the excitement, and it's a good time for Portal Games.
Borrowed, not stole, right? That's probably a better word, right?
Yep, I love it.
As a small anecdote, and I'm going to mention Jeff Engelstein in a second. Jeff and I were talking fairly recently about how interesting and mature the industry has gotten from a perspective of game design, meaning that now you see many games coming out. None of them have a new mechanic, but what they do is they say, oh, I'll take a little of this and a little of this, oh, and some of this, and they combine them in a new and interesting way to make it a fresh experience for the gamer. It's a very mature set of ideas that people are using when they can grab things from great designers who have come before them or from themselves and change things just up. So it's just really cool the way that whole thing is we're developing right now.
Correct.
So here at the Podfather of Gaming HQ, what's happening? Well, first of all, in the world of gaming, I have started Gloomhaven Online with Tom Vassell and good friend of both of ours, Rod Phelps. I mentioned in the episode, I believe last week, yes, I did, that if the Dice Tower Kickstarter hit $280,000, which it has, that the stretch goal was Tom would post plays of Gloomhaven Online, and myself and Rod are part of it. We're doing it as a 3-player game. And we just started recording. We're not going to drop episodes until we have a whole bunch of scenarios already done. So we'll probably record 5 or 10 scenarios in that area, and then we'll start dropping them once a week. He'll edit them up and start putting them out there on the Dice Tower YouTube channel. I will link them at the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel as well. So wait for that. It was so much fun doing it. We finally started clicking as a party there. I'm playing the scoundrel, you know, it's kind of my personality. Anyway, so it's going to be really fun hopefully for everybody to watch those. On the remodeling project, Ignacy, I'm sorry. It's almost every piece of it is good news. I'm sorry. The main floor, as I've been saying, is done, except for the fact my game table, I'm playing on a silly card table now. The game table should be arriving any day. Again, within a week. I said a week last week, hasn't arrived yet, but it's en route from Las Vegas, where the warehouse is for these tables, from Game Theory Tables. I'm going to be putting an epic video out once it's here. I also got a very special accessory for my gaming area, and this is an infinity table by Arcade 1-Up. They usually make electronic stand-up tables with classic games in them, not tables, you know, like, you know, you go to an arcade, you can play Galaxians, you can play this, all the old school games. They make these arcade tables or arcade consoles that you can play and have in your house. Well, they also have an infinity table where you're playing mostly classic games, mostly like Hasbro stuff, on a huge tablet, but it's a table. And you sit 2 players. Actually, a lot of the games go up to 4 and 6 players, and you play games. The games that we would love to play are Pandemic and Ticket to Ride. Those are the ones that are there. Anybody can develop games for their table. It's basically it's a Google Android based system. Anybody can develop games for this. People are developing them. It's really cool. Do we have a lot of great games on there? No, I mentioned the 2 great ones, though I have been playing some other ones that are pretty interesting. And I've been playing a little chess just because, you know, it's there and I want to see if I can beat the computer. I beat it yesterday. I was very happy. And it's just a really cool, interesting conversation piece. And we created a little section of the gaming area with 2 nice chairs and that table between them. And that was really a lot of fun. What else do I have to tell you about? Everything else is just about complete. The upstairs floor, it's all done except for the doors, and we're gonna be waiting for 5 weeks. So there's your bad news, Ignacy. Even got the fire pit in. I just have to get it working. There was a little problem with it, but it'll be working pretty darn soon. On my cons and trips, I mentioned Jeff Engelstein. He was here. He's actually here in South Florida. He's at a conference, but I hosted him here for a day and a half before he went down there. We had a great time. I dragged out my books that he's written, because he's written so many books. I mean, the guy just doesn't stop. He's crazy. Besides designing games, besides running his own business outside the games industry, he writes a lot of books. And when I was dragging my books of his out for him to sign, I found this book on my shelf. And I've forgotten completely about this. Now, of course, you're going to have to...
Ian Livingstone.
You're going to have to go to the YouTube channel to see what I'm holding up. But this is a book called Board Games in 100 Moves by Sir Ian Livingstone, who we talked about, just knighted by the Queen. And this was before he was obviously a knight. But this is, you know, just recently, about 8 years ago, maybe, that he wrote this book. And I never met Ian Livingstone, but I was reached out by the publisher to say, can we use some images from some Stronghold games? And I was like, yes, of course you can. So featured in here are Survive and Crude the Oil game, which at the time, why he's using that one is because of McMulty, which at the time was a groundbreaking game. McMulty was published in Germany, you know, only in German, and then we picked up the license and called it Crude the Oil game later on. So both of those games are featured in here as basically games that changed the gaming landscape. And I didn't know Ian Livingstone. I didn't know his cred or anything like that. I never even read the book, which is very sad. I went and I looked at the pictures. I'm like, oh, look at that. Survive is in here. And oh, look at that Crude the Oil Game is in here. Those pictures. Now, of course, I got to go read it and see what Ian Livingstone says about the industry and how it grew up. It takes it through the ages. It takes it through, the original games of Senate and Mancala, all these games from 5 and 3000 BC and things like that. So you can check out, if you want to check out Board Games in 100 Moves by Sir Ian Livingstone. Very, very cool.
So next time you go to UK Game Expo, we go together to Mr. Sir Ian and we ask him for signatures. So you have your book, I have his books as well. And we'll be like two fanboys asking for the signature.
It's another reason to end up going to UK Games Expo, which I've never gone to yet. I was at Dice Tower headquarters last week recording a top 10 games deserving a reprint. It went so well. Normally do a top 10 and Tom and I argue constantly. It was like a love fest. And
I watched the video. Very interesting.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Tom, Jason Levine, and I gave our top 10s of games deserving a reprint. I thought it was going to be so hard to do. I ended up with 10 games that I thought could have a nice reprint when I was halfway through my shelf of games. And then I asked a few people, and I made a really good list, and we all did. We had some crossovers, as you might think. It was really good. Check that one out. We also did a Dice Tower Cruise Q&A, and I did a live board game breakfast. That was wonderful. Next trips are the Dice Tower Cruise I just mentioned, and Dice Tower West, both of those February and into early March. Can't wait to get back out there and see everybody. And I'm not an elitist, guys, so if you see me at any event at any time doing almost anything except for having a serious conversation maybe with Tom, just come up and say hi. And you see me hanging out in the bar talking, come on, hang out. I'll buy you a drink probably. You see me playing a game, come over, let's just talk. Let's play a game and stuff like that. So let's go over to the event deck. So I put this here almost as a silly thing, the first thing, because you were in ICV2, Greg Gregorish. How do you say it?
Grzegorz Polewka.
Oh my God, Greg. I call him Greg. His promotion to the Chief Operating Officer of the Polish division for Portal Games. We reported on this already, but I wanted to say because it was in ICV2, and really happy for Greg and really happy for you, Ignacy, because now you get to do what you're best at. You don't want the business side. You don't need the business side, right? I mean, you got a great guy behind you, and I think this is an amazing moment for Portal Games to have somebody kind of taking the full control while you do the creative side.
I couldn't be more proud. Like I'm so pumped about this. That this is a guy that I trust him, and he made so great career at my company, and now he will be running the whole thing, and I can focus on doing either silly stuff that is marketing and cookies and meeting with the fans, or serious stuff designing games. It's a dream come true on so many levels, and I'm happy for him and happy for all the people working at Portal Games. That is just a bright future. Very,
very, very cool. So here's a follow-up to some story that we covered about a couple of months ago, or maybe only 1.5 months ago. It's Yellow, France, appointing Flat River Group as their exclusive distributor for English in the US and Canada. French board game company Yellow has appointed Flat River Group as its exclusive distributor to the English-speaking markets of the US and Canada, the companies announced. The new deal was effective on January 1st, 2022. Flat River Group has been selling Yellow products to mass retailers for the past 9 years. The new deal expands the relationship to other channels, meaning distribution, right? Hobby game distribution, and probably also into Amazon and into Barnes and Noble, and hopefully into Target. That's the other channels that they would get them into, because Flat River is good at doing that. Flat River Group division Impressions Game Distribution Services handles distribution to hobby. Now, if you recall, Flat River Group purchased Impressions, which is like PSI, and they did that a few years ago. And now they're bringing in other clients to be part of that portfolio. Yellow was in the market for new distribution in North America after terminating its relationship with Yellow USA and its COO, Stéphane Brassard, in November. So that was in November when we did that. an early major release under the new arrangement will be Tokyo, King of Tokyo Monster Box, which I'm waiting for eagerly, originally planned for release in Q4. So Ignacy, to make sure we frame it for everybody, Flat River Group is very similar to PSI, right? They do multiple things. One thing is that they're a sales agent selling into distribution. They do a little direct distribution as well to retailers. And they do the hard work of getting you placed into a Barnes & Noble or into a Target or into a Walmart as well. So I'm very happy to see that they've come up with a new solution here. It was an unfortunate and odd way of breaking with the North American company of Yellow USA, which we talked about already. But this is good to see that they're back into distribution and with the new games from Yellow France.
That is absolutely right. This Flat River Games is a rapidly growing company with lots of good reputation here. So it is very good for the Yellow friends having chance to have a great distribution. Of course, still it is not a great news for Steven and the whole Yellow USA department. Because there's no follow-up what's with them. Like the Yellow just announced that they are splitting the ties and no further information. So clearly Yellow friends figured out how they want to distribute games in America. And now we will look for the information of what's happening with the rest of the Yellow USA, if they will rebrand for the new company or they will look for different future. So good for Yellow friends, and that's it.
Yeah, and you can tell that what they did was use their current group. They had already had a relationship with Flat River Games, so they went and expanded that relationship versus going to another like PSI or going with their own, setting up their own sales agency within the US. So that's the kind of the key thing for me. That why did they use Flat River instead of PSI? But so they already had a relationship there. So they're just expanding that relationship to give them essentially giving them all of the distribution business within North America. So I understand it. I understand that completely, why they would choose them.
Yep.
I was going to mention as the next thing that IDW reported their sales, but I think that we agreed that we're never going to talk about IDW again because they kept losing money. So I removed it. We're going to go directly to the GAMA updating their health and safety protocols for their upcoming GAMA Expo. And I know, since you love GAMA so much, it's very important for us to talk a lot about GAMA. So their update said that full vaccination and N95 mask requirements are going to be in place, and they add social distancing guidelines. This is interesting. And maybe the most, well, let me read this first. The Game Manufacturers Association has updated their health and safety protocols for the upcoming GAMA Expo, which is March 14th through 18th, 2022. GAMA has responded to the current status of the COVID-19 pandemic by releasing new requirements for attending GAMA Expo. They are officially requiring that all attendees be fully vaccinated as defined by CDC guidelines, which is a move they discussed back in October. Attendees must have their second dose of Pfizer or Moderna or a single dose of Johnson & Johnson in at least 2 weeks before attending GAMA Expo or be denied entrance to the show. To make the show, the vaccine schedule must be completed by February 27, 2022. Vaccine cards and photo IDs are required to pick up the badges, etc. It was interesting, by the way, Ignacy, they also added that you need special masking, not just any masks. You need N95 or K95 surgical masks as well. So they are really upping the game from even what PAX Unplugged did, where you needed to show your ID card, and then you put a mask on and you go in. They're actually even increasing the entire, making it a almost the European model. I think in Germany, everybody has to be wearing N95 masks, surgical type masks to move around. And they're also adding in social distancing protocols like the dinner is going to have certain protocols for people to be where people are going to go, and their cocktail receptions, all of this making it a very safe environment. I think this is good stuff.
Yeah, this is a B2B event. You can make it super clear, and you understand that the fans will not complain that it is hard to play board game and mask. No, this is a B2B environment. You have to make meetings, deals, and you want to be safe. Here in Poland, if I may complain, because I'm from Poland and I'm always complaining.
Yes.
We at PortalCon were also very, very strict about being vaccinated and having a mask.
Good.
And we get a huge blow from anti-vaxxers who are just trolling our social media for many, many days. We didn't give up. This is for safety. This is for being my employees safe, my fans being safe, myself being safe. And this is the only way to do in this strange, weird time. So here, GAMA gets my full support. This is for the health of people involved.
Write it down, guys. On January 26, 2022, Ignacy gave GAMA his full support. It's a late news week. So from here, we'll go directly into strategy and tactics. All right, Michael Wagner, who's at Wagner ML2. He says, hello, gentlemen. I can't express how much I love the pod. Thank you, Michael. Question, we have seen certain mechanisms and or themes go on runs of popularity over the past few years. For instance, roll and rights have been the rage over the past 2 years. And this question does come from about a year or so ago. And a few years back, we had Zombie Run, which is a thematic thing, not a mechanic thing. My question is, as a publisher, do you look for these trends and try to capitalize on a mechanism or theme's popularity? I would imagine with the lag between the design phase and the publishing phase of the game, that would be difficult. Or in the alternative, are your publishing choices made independent of current and foreseeable mechanisms and or theme trends? Ignacy, tell us about how you do it.
Yeah, so this is a super interesting question, and I confirm that myself, I'm very active, as you guys know, on social media. I'm playing all the new games that is possible. My ratio of playing new games is absolutely insane. Always new game. And I'm playing and discovering these new games and thinking which one is something new, something really, really interesting that maybe will explode in the whole new genre. And yes, I was right with Roll and Rights, and when Roll and Rights exploded, I already had my own design in this genre because I felt that it may explode. With Detective, I think that I was part of this explosion, with Detective being part of this first wave of investigation games. Now we are here at Portal Games working on a game that is not yet announced, so I cannot say too much, but it is the same case that last year I saw some new interesting mechanism in the gaming, and I thought it may be huge. And now when I see more and more announcements, I can confirm that this part of the mechanism, this new idea and mechanism, most likely will be huge in upcoming 2 years. So yes, we as a publishers, we as a designers try to see all these new ideas in the industry and then try to do something with that. So yeah, this is how you roll.
Can you mention what that mechanism is, or you want to kind of keep it on the?
We can do follow up to this question in about 4 weeks when we will announce it.
That sounds great. So yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that we all keep our head down and keep looking at what's going on out there. And
the same case with you, like when Roll and Rights exploded, you already had secured so many contracts for games from this genre because you felt being at conventions, seeing what's hot, you know, okay, this is a net thing. And I'm securing the rights for these games. And this is the same. Play games as a publisher, see what's hot, and react.
Yeah, I got real, that was a really great thing. Got really lucky, or, my ability to network and make relationships. Made the relationship with Schmidt-Spiele, who has an entire, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast, the biggest selling roll and write in Germany is not That's Pretty Clever, Ganz schön clever. It's Encore, whatever they call it. I forgot the name that they call it. Encore is the English name and the French name. All of a sudden, I'm just forgetting what they called it. But that was the one, and they had that one already even before That's Pretty Clever. That was like the next one in that line. And I just said, hey guys, I want to do That's Pretty Clever, and I'll do all your rolling rights because this is a big trend. Boom, got it. And then we ended up doing 6, 7 of them already.
I remember being at Alan Moon's Gathering of Friends in Niagara, and there was explosion Ganson Clever. Everybody was playing Ganson Clever.
Yep.
And I came back to Poland and I said, this is a new big thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Kirk W., who's the corset maker. I love it. This is a controversial one, Ignacy. So I don't know if this is allowed to be talked. I don't know what the controversy is. So I assume I'm allowed to ask this question and then you can cut it. Okay. So maybe it's all a joke. Knowing that Ignacy is a huge football fan and soon to be publisher of a football themed board game, that's soccer to us dumb Americans, I was curious about his opinions on the quite controversial Super League. I apologize if this topic is too controversial for this venue, in which case I plead ignorance as I'm a simple ice hockey fan with only a passing knowledge of the European football leagues and all their machinations. P.S. The Super League is the most exciting soccer news I have ever heard since moving to Europe almost 6 years ago. Ignacy, enlighten all of us about the Super League and the controversy going on there.
There was 6 or 8 biggest, most rich football clubs in Europe who decided to create their own private league. Without a federation, without the national teams like that, we are doing our private thing, and we will sell TV rights for that, and we want all the cake, all the money from TV rights for us.
Okay.
Of course, as you can imagine, federations and international federations just got crazy and started banning these football clubs, and it was insane. The funny story is that after the announcement of creation of this Super League, the next day, 24 hours, 6 out of 8 clubs already said that it was a mistake and they don't want to do it because when the federation just hit them, they were immediately. So after 24 hours, only 2 clubs were part of this Super League, and of course, the whole project collapsed.
Right.
The only good news from this Super League was that Heineken, the producer of the brand of the beer, created one of the best ads I ever saw, because the next day they promoted the ad that was saying, "Don't drink the alcohol and create Super League," and it was so hilarious.
That is so funny. Wow. So I understand exactly what you're saying. I kind of remember this now, that it was a big to do.
Yep.
Yeah. Was Manchester United one of those teams?
I think they were involved,
yeah.
But I said everyone was just checking out immediately. Yeah. It was an insane project. Of course, I was against that because it was not fair to create only the biggest clubs, creating their own league and getting all the TV rights, and all the poorer clubs would be not part of that. So that was unfair, but it died in 24 hours.
That's an amazing quick death.
Yep.
Jeremy Baker, who's at Fancy Pants. Oh, I love that one. If you were to publish a game based off a sandwich, what kind of questions are we getting today? Which one would you publish? Is the grilled cheese to, quote, big box store? That's great. What mechanic would work well with a pastrami on rye? Oh, come on, Jeremy. I know Jeremy, actually. He used to come to my happy hour. So he's a very funny, good guy. Ignacy, could you do a game based on a sandwich? And which one would it be based on?
I don't want to sound too cocky, but right now I'm designing games about the Batman, so sandwich is not on my list.
I think you can have a really good thing here, because sandwich shops, in this country, sandwich shops are huge, right? Delis, right? There's the Jewish deli, there's the American deli, the Italian delis, all kinds of delis that are out there right now. And pastrami is like maybe my favorite sandwich on the planet.
On a serious note, I don't know if you remember, Z-Man Games released a game called Wasabi. It was pretty popular, very good game. Mm-hmm. We have Sushi Go, super popular game. So there is a food involved in a gaming, and these are pretty awesome, fun games. I prefer Batman. There
are many food-based games. One of my favorite and unknown ones, of course, is based on beer. It's called Goldbrow. Do you know Goldbrow? Goldbrow was done, literally, this must have been like a 2000 era game or something like that. And it's about the German Oktoberfests and the beer festivals, and you're trying to lure people to your booth to have people have your beers versus the other people. So yeah, the more customers you get there, it's really kind of cute. Not, it's I had to have this game in my collection.
I remember Friedman Friese did a game about making a beer. It was a good game. It was about deck building, but in a reverse. So you were starting with the many cards and you were just removing them. I don't remember the title. It was years ago.
I don't know this one.
Friedman Friese and beer making. Yeah.
I'm searching that out as soon as I'm getting my pen here. Friedemann Friese beer making. I actually texted Hennig of 2F Spiele last night about something, so I got to reach out to him again. So anyway, I think this actually has a good potential to do something like with sandwich making in shops and making the best sandwiches. I like this, Jeremy, even though it was a silly question, but I like it. Pancho Varas, who's Pancho Varas, he says job offers in support areas in the board game industry is his topic, I guess. I follow you since 2015, and I think you deserve to win the Golden Geek this year. Well, we will be definitely nominated because we'll be annoying you guys to do it again because we'll give some games away. It is always said that there are many job opportunities in the industry, but every time I check, I only see job offers for graphic designers, people in marketing or sales, and in very rare opportunities, game designers or developers. The question is, I have just finished a master's in finance, and I got curious if companies like Portal Games or similar size who can afford to pay a stable salary, let's say, for example, between 10 and 100 employee sizes, hire people from support areas. He means accounting, finance, lawyers, human resources, or if these tasks are outsourced and the stable staff positions are only focused on the core business. Thank you very much for so many years of fun and information. Ignacy, so give us the lowdown here. Tell us what kind of positions are most often hired, and do you end up with the back office kind of positions a lot? In a company of your size, which is a good substantial size that he's talking about.
Yeah, we have 43 full-time employees at this moment. The biggest department is department for marketing. There's a ton of people doing social media, doing photos, doing some trailers, etc., etc. So marketing is the biggest department, and he mentioned that in a question. The next biggest department in the company is the publishing department, and we have people who are project managers, who are working with the translators, who are working with DTP people. We have a full-time 3 people doing files and DTP. So this is the second biggest department here at Portal Games. And then the third biggest department is sales. And sales consists of a sales team, obviously, and the accountant. We have 2 accountants in the company. Yes, and then there is a logistic team that is doing the whole warehouse and is responsible for the web store, etc., etc. So altogether, 43 people. We don't have a full-time person who is only analyzing finances, who is only doing strategy around the finances, but we do cooperate in a third-party company that is doing it for us, and once a year we have ordered like a consultation, let's call it, and they analyze our finances and they give us some advices about the future development of the company. So yeah, for the company like us, it is not yet to have the full-time, this is called CFO, correct? Position, so person who is fully dedicated only to.
Oh, CISO, is that what you're trying to say?
Yes. So
CFO, so
yes.
Chief Finance Officer.
Yeah, so this is not yet for the company like Portal Games, but we do it as a third party.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, and what this gentleman is asking is just not something that most mid-sized companies can really put on the books as a position, a finance position, even an accountant. It's interesting. You say you have people doing accounting work.
We have two people who full-time doing accountant work, but we have in Poland so many paperwork, so many documents. It is so much more complex than in America when I compare what Luke is doing in America. So yes, we have 2 people just printing all these boring papers and sending them to the offices.
I think, yeah, and I think that from the American perspective, the biggest sort of departments I agree with you would be the production, marketing, graphic design and art, and customer support, right? And then that portion usually also branches into convention management, trade show and convention management, and then you'd have an administration like group or person. I had Paula, and she would do my bookkeeping. She would do the stuff, put things into QuickBooks,
Yep.
simple stuff. And she'd do any reporting that I needed based on royalty payments and things like that, creating the statements and things like that. It's less financial people and high level accountants in smaller companies. You're going to find them in bigger companies for sure, but they'll be fewer and more far between. And with that, let's get over to playtesting. So, Ignacy, last week, I asked the fans about predictions, because we just did our predictions episode. And I said, since we did our predictions for 2022, give us your predictions for 2022. Give us one or more predictions, whatever you'd like, make them wild, crazy, or just wishful thinking, or make them something you really think will happen. And Ignacy, we had some great responses as always. Why don't you give us some of your favorite ones that you saw?
First of all, Gabriel Perez said his prediction number 1 is Ignacy will be scared to death while Bonacor takes him for the ride in his Corvette. It's easy to scare me, so it is possible. Prediction number 2, Ignacy will work with a well-known designer to play the game. It may happen since I'm no longer in a full CEO of Portal Games. And prediction number 3, Bonacor will think about going to convention in Australia or Europe. And I think it is also possible that you will visit us. And his bold prediction number 4 is Bonacor will start his own how to play YouTube series. I doubt it.
I agree that is definitely not going to happen. I just can't put that much time into it with all my travels that I want to do and things like that.
Sean predicted that I predict that this year Ignacy will write a rule book that he's proud of and that everyone understands. No, I'm done with writing rule books for many years. I hate writing rule books. I'm serious. I literally feel pain when I have to write rules. It is like your worst homework from the school. You guys remember when you were a kid and you had to do homework and you were looking for everything except doing this stupid homework. This for me rule book, so no, it won't happen. And Eric Lagnebeck says Ignacy will work less. I like it. Steven will come out of retirement to become a race car driver. That would be funny. And his last prediction, with the new scoring in place, the next predictions will end up with trailing 0-0 tie.
Who said that one? I'm looking for it.
Eric Lagenbeck.
Okay. Interesting. I'm looking through here to see which ones I want to use. Let me see. I'm going to start with Uli Blenenman, right? The Uli, who is the president of Spielworks. Great guy, great friend of both of ours, and longtime partner of Stronghold Games. He predicted, and I believe he predicted this before you announced this. My prediction, Ignacy, while still being president of Portal Games, will focus on creating new designs as the head of development department in the future. I think. Wow.
He predicted it one day after the announcement.
But did he see the announcement?
I guess.
Oh, then that's not fair. Did he cheat?
We announced it on 19th and the post is from 20. So
Uli, if you cheated, I want to know. That is genius, right? If he got it like without knowing it, spot on, perfect. Then we have Kurt. You didn't read Kurt's, right?
Yes.
Did you read Kurt? Kurt Van?
No, not. Oh. I mean, I read it, but I didn't read it aloud. So it's absolutely.
Okay, yes. So Kurt says that Ignacy, finally seeing Steven again in 2022, will drink at least a half a glass of beer. Steven, still not a football fan, soccer fan, will learn to keep the ball up at least 5 times with his foot. No cheating. Oh, you mean like actually doing it on your foot to like tap it in the air? Probably wrong. Portal Games will finally announce a co-design of Ignacy and Eric Lang coming on GameFound in 2023 and breaking all records there. There you go. Already a 2023 prediction. Look at that. And Steven will be in the news being part of a crazy car chase by police because of speeding now that he knows how to drive his Corvette fast. Okay, let me see.
Are you crossing speed limits?
I always drive the speed limit, Ignacy. Of course I do. Of course. I drive very safely. Yes, I might drive above the speed limit, but I always drive safely. It's funny. You get maniacs here in Florida that constantly want to race you. I'll be driving down the highway a little bit above the speed limit. Somebody pulls next to you and they're like, come on. And they just want to go. And then they'll just hit the gas and like go over 100 miles an hour. And I'm like, not doing it, guys. I don't not race. Sorry.
My biggest memory from visiting America and visiting LA when I was doing my marathon of promoting First Martians is crazy drivers in LA. Oh my God, people were driving there like crazy, like it was a Need for Speed, real life. I don't want to drive a car in LA anymore.
Great. Did you read the one by Nick Shaw? I mean, did you? I didn't hear the ones you were reading. I'll just read this one. Tell me to stop. Nick Shaw says, already done prediction. A solo game will hit the top of the BGG hotness. Oops, already done. Legacy of You. Probably wrong prediction. A solo game will reach the BGG top 100. So this guy's obviously a big solo gamer. He really wants to see this. The first one is at number 224, and that's Under Falling Skies. I know that game. Crazy prediction. Stephen Bonner will come out of retirement, move to Poland, and start working at Portal Games, mainly so he can bug Ignacy all the time. Probably not going to happen.
Just in case you wonder, yes, you are invited.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you so much. So thank you, everybody, for helping us there. Ignacy, give us the question for next week.
Of course, it had to be somehow connected with my big announcement from this week. So my question today for you is, what's your favorite villain in DC Comics? There is so many of them to choose. So who's the one that you love the most to read about?
And for me, I mean, that answer, because Batman is my favorite character in DC Comics. So therefore, and which was wonderful when I saw that you're doing it in a detective game. It's like mind blowing, the whole thing. And then from that, my favorite villain in DC Comics is definitely the Joker, the like antithesis, the opposite of Batman in every way. I think he's brilliant. And while I'm not a reading of the comic book fans, I know lots about him from the animated series and some of them and the movies, and the animated movies. The Killing Joke was a really dark thing. So just love the Joker and love that. So that's great. I can't wait to hear what everybody else is going to say about this one. Ignacy right now is going to create a thread on Board Game Geek. Please go to our guild on Board Game Geek and find our play testing thread for episode 225 and post your answer to the question. While Ignacy does that, I'm going to final scoring. Thank you so much for listening. Help us spread the word about this podcast by telling your friends to download Board Games Insider wherever they like to get their podcasts, or to watch Board Games Insider on the Podfather of Gaming YouTube channel. To ask us questions for our strategy and tactics segment, you must post them in the correct thread in our guild on Board Game Geek. And to answer our question to you from playtesting, also go to our guild on Board Game Geek and look for the thread with this episode's question. Board Games Insider has a Facebook page, so please like us on Facebook. Also on Facebook, please like Ignacy's page and Steven's page /PortalGamesUS and /PodfatherGaming. Our websites are portalgamesus.com, podfathergaming.com. Go there, sign up for the newsletters, and get up-to-the-minute information on what's happening at Portal Games and with the Podfather. On social media, you can speak directly to Ignacy and Steven. On Twitter and Instagram, it's @PortalGamesUS and @PodfatherGaming. On YouTube, the channel names are Portal Games Movies, Portal Games Gameplays, and the Podfather of Gaming. On TikTok, go watch Ignacy, Portal Games US. We hope to see you at an upcoming convention soon, and they're coming up. The convention season should start rolling with Dice Tower West, so I'm going to see some of you out there. Board Games Insiders, professionally edited by Matthew Jude from This Game is Broken podcast. If you'd like him to edit your podcast, please contact him on Twitter or email at thisgameisbrokenpodcast@gmail.com. That great voice you hear doing our intro, outro, and in-between segments is that of Ray Greenlee. He can be contacted to do voiceover work at raygreenleevoiceover.com. Ignacy, what do you got special to report to our fans who have listened to us this far?
Our fans, I just want to say that the news about the Batman was not the last news that we have prepared for you for the beginning of the year. So visit Portal Games website every Monday for at least 4 weeks from now, because we have so many additional announcements, additional news, additional great surprises for you. As I said, for years we were doing all these announcements in a one day, PortalCon. Now we just spread them to a couple of weeks. So every Monday, check out portalgamesus.com because we have more amazing stuff.
That's fantastic. I love little bits of news dribbling out there like all the time. Keeps people really engaged. Yep. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you in a week.